All right, it is Eagles draft week. We've been spotlighting the best picks by round. We've done supplemental. We've done undrafted free agents. Today we're going to get into the meat of the draft. And these are guys who were picked in the 8th round or later. Now the NFL draft is 7 rounds, but there was a time where it would go on forever. So these are the best players that the Eagles have ever picked in the 8th round or later. Two-time Pro Bowler, two-time NFL champion Russ Kraft was drafted in the 15th round. He was a star on that 48 and 49 teams. 1960 NFL champion, NFL Hall of Famer, Philly Sports Hall of Famer, Eagles Hall of Famers, Tom Brookshire, and Bobby Walton were selected in the 15th round. Both of them starred on that. I think one was in 1958, the other was in 1959. Barefooted kicker Paul McFadden was drafted in the 12th round. Might remember he burst onto the scene before kind of falling off. If you remember the Buddy Ryan days and the early Rich Kotite, if you remember Mark McMillan was drafted in the 10th round. And then also drafted in the 10th round was Herb Lusk, a guy I worked for 10 years at the People for People Charter School. He was the pastor at the Greater Exodus Baptist Church, the Eagles chaplain for a long time, and the first player who started the after he scored a touchdown, he would kneel down and pray. Passed away a couple years ago, but Herb Lusk, great dude, worked for him for years. He was drafted in the 10th round. But our spotlight today, two of my all-time favorite Eagles from those Buddy Ryan teams were taken in back-to-back rounds in the 1986 NFL Draft. Let's start with the 8th round, and the Eagles selected Seth Joyner out of UTEP. He played with the Eagles from 86 to 93, two-time All-Pro, two-time Pro Bowler. He's on the Eagles All-75th anniversary team. He's in the Eagles Hall of Fame, the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. He's in the 2020 club, one of the few members. There's a lot of guys who have more interceptions and more sacks, but he is the only Eagle in history with 35 sacks and 15 or more interceptions. Known for his big plays. I feel like Seth Joyner was the guy where you're like, all right, the Eagles need a turnover here, and he would either force a fumble or grab an interception or make a sack. He was really, to me, was a big-time player. You might know him now on Post Game Live. He does the post-game show for the Eagles. I had an experience with Seth Joyner out in Westchester at training camp. So excited to wait in line. Gave him my card. My pen died, and he was like, sorry, kids. So I have a Seth Joyner card in my storage that has an S on it. Nobody would ever believe that it was a Seth Joyner signature, but I have the story to back it up. As far as I'm concerned, he should be a Hall of Famer, and we'll get more into that in a minute. Now that Eric Allen's in, I think we need to make a push to get Seth Joyner in. Probably my favorite Seth Joyner game was the House of Pain game when he had a monster day with the flu and 102 fever. So Seth Joyner drafted in the 8th round in 1986. And then one round later, the Eagles selected Clyde Simmons, who is number 4 on the Eagles all-time sack list. He's a two-time All-Pro, two-time Pro Bowler, led the league in sacks in 1992, also in the Eagles Hall of Fame, also on the Eagles 75th anniversary team, and he is a newly inducted for the 2025 class into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. He's often the forgotten star from the team. Everybody talks Reggie. Everybody talks Eric Allen. Everybody talks about Andre Waters' hits, Jerome Brown. But Clyde Simmons was a star in his own right. Often one of the guys that people forget about on those teams. My favorite Clyde Simmons play is they were playing the Giants 1988 up in the Meadowlands in overtime. I think the game was tied 17-all. Luis Dejas came on to kick a field goal. It was blocked, recovered by Clyde Simmons, who returned it in overtime for the game-winning touchdown. And if you ever can get a chance, watch the clip of this. Bill Parcells loses his shit because he's like, he can't advance it. But it turns out the ball went behind the line of scrimmage when Clyde recovered it. And because it wasn't 4th down, he was able to return it. Eagles win en route to a division title that year in 1988. And it's amazing to think about Buddy Ryan's eye for talent. Like, he drafted these guys in the 8th and 9th round. Clyde Simmons is not a Hall of Famer, but he's certainly in the Hall of Very Good. To me, Seth Joyner is a Hall of Famer. Tomorrow, we'll focus on the 7th round as we gear up for the first night of the NFL draft.